Okay, this is another giant group of questions from Pastor. Are Rainbow Dash's vision problems psychosomatic?
No,
No,
they're
she
fully
has bad vision.
biological, uh,
Her eyes are
physical
deformed horribly.
properties.
She has an astigmatism, just lumpy
Yeah,
football-shaped eyes.
yeah.
Oh my God.
When you see her up close, it's really great. It's really creepy.
Yeah, it is. You can actually see them bulging out of her skull toward you. Like
Ew.
when Pinkie Pie says, "And I've got my eye on you," and her eyes bulge out.
Yeah.
It does that, but all the time, just always sticking out of her head in that sort of conical
That's
shape.
hilarious.
Oh God.
Yeah, she covers it with the sunglasses a lot, so you don't
Yeah.
always notice. But in a
But
dark room, you'll see it.
She's not self-conscious or anything. She doesn't even know anything's wrong, really.
She can't see it in the mirror because her eyes are so
Yeah.
deformed. So it's all good.
She thinks she looks awesome.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Okay.
But yeah, she thinks she looks great. She looks in the
Yeah.
mirror and she's like, "My hair is such a beautiful blur," you know? And she's
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
it's got
colors all
it's got
blend."
this beautiful gray, orange, yellow,
Yeah.
gray, blue, and purple colors.
The world is all these pretty gray starbursts of color. So it's just all the lights appear as these massive blurs in her vision. So everything's just beautiful all the time. It's like Christmas all year.
What's your favorite type of cheese?
Mozzarella.
Pepper Jack.
Cheddar. I don't have good types. No. I love Parmesan. So there.
Okay, that was odd.
I think the saddest one to answer is like American, but it's kind of
You
it is
sound like a
delicious.
loser.
You sound like you just like fat cheese. That's all it is. It's just the
You like
fattest cheese.
the
you
Kraft
but-
single slice cheese is your favorite.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's like it's already melted all the time. It's ready to spread butter. Oh, it's so wrong.
Do ponies naturally acclimate to monocratic government systems? Does Witchcraft's Ponyville have a mayor?
It does.
Yes,
Mayor's still
Pony.
around, and Apple
Mayor,
Bloom
Mayor.
even wants to be president.
So there's an elected system of officials.
Yep.
There are elections, and there's a full government with different people who do different tasks. Mayor is included, and the president. Where Celestia fits in is well, I think we'll let the episodes. Maybe there'll be a nice episode where Celestia can have some development, but I think
Yeah,
it's better
maybe she'll have her own
just-
episode.
to just
sometime.
let Celestia's role be a bit mysterious, just like it is in the real show. I think. People think
Mhm.
people act like they know exactly what Celestia's deal is, but from the show, you can't really infer what she does. Like she raises
Yeah.
the sun, so she is like a demigod, basically, or a
Yeah,
very
but like, does she organize taxes? Like, I think it's
Does she-
intentionally vague. She's
Yeah,
more
it's-
like a mother figure who steps in to
Yeah.
control when things get too bad. but-
What's her prerogative? I mean, what is her deal? Does she just want society to just keep going? So she is like the government? It's not clear in the show, and it isn't clear in Witchcraft. And we haven't. I don't think we've really thought about it much. It's the same deal
No.
where she's just the mysterious, like, sort of the mother figure to Twilight, but obviously Twilight drives her crazy kind of thing.
And Twilight's much more spoiled than ours, definitely.
Yeah.
She's spoiled, and she
Like,
loves.
there's kind of the implication that through her childhood, she's just sort of like happy-go-lucky, learned to like trample on everyone for what she
Right.
wants. She could just be like, she could be walking down the street like, that's a nice door on that building, and then she'll just be given it. And it's like she's incredibly spoiled, and then she doesn't think about the person who no longer has a door. She's just like,
Right.
I'm glad this is my door now. It looks better here.
Yeah.
It's nicer in my room, leaned against my wall.
and you can
But then
tell
she might see the empty doorway and be like, that's silly that they don't have a door. They need one. Like,
Yeah.
she just kind of
Yeah.
like skips through life, not aware of how she affects other people and how she might ruin their lives. The best princess ever.
And she like I think that's funny
Twilight.
too.
Princess
She's-
Sparkle.
You can hear this conversation like between Twilight in our series, like where maybe Twilight's like, oh, Celestia, I'm gonna be with you forever. Like, I want to be your student forever. And she's like, oh, but you can't because like, I'm a princess. I live forever. I'm magical.
Yeah.
You have to grow up and live in the real world. And, like, you're gonna die one day, Twilight. And she's like, oh, but can you turn me into a princess? And then Celestia's like, maybe. And you can tell.
Like, it's complicated. That could disrupt, like, the way things work.
You can tell that Twilight doesn't want to think about this other life. She's just like, oh, when I finally convince Celestia to turn me into a princess, then everything will be good and I'll be her student forever. I think that's funny too. That's the basic premise of Twilight's character, is that she's a student forever. Like, every day she's learning new lessons about friendship and about magic. And that's kind of the joke, is that she's like 20-something now. And
she's learning how to operate in the universe.
She's still learning lessons about friendship. And every day she writes a new letter to the princess about what she learns. But what's the point is sort of the idea. Like, when will she use the lessons she's learned to, like, live in the real world and have friends? Because right now, and what the show, even what the show does, is she's always learning lessons about friendship. And it's like, are the lessons going to stick? Is she just going to learn everything there is to know about friendship, and then she will be done? And then she will live in the real world, and then she will know how to make friends? Like, what's going on?
And especially in our series, it's clearly unsuccessful, because all of her letters are more just like literal things she's learned. Like, I just learned that this ball can bounce so high. And she just, like, doesn't really understand that she's, like, missing the point. And things, even if she does think she learned something about friendship, she's, like, completely missed the lesson of what actually happened around her that day. Like, if there was a lesson to be learned, she is not aware.
Yeah.
She's just like, and usually it's something about how great her life is. Right. It's like something happy, like a ball can bounce really high, or it doesn't matter how far she can slide, she's still a great pony. And so Twilight, it just kind of all rolls off her. She's like, I always think of her as kind of like a sad version of Winnie the Pooh, where she's like a stuffed animal and she just kind of bumbles along and isn't like a fully conceived person. She's just like this sad, fluffy creature with these big, like, spaced out eyes that just, like, twiddles along, and everything happens and she doesn't notice or care. And unless it affects her directly, it literally doesn't matter to her at all.
Yeah, she's very selfish, basically. She's selfish in an oblivious way. She doesn't know there's anything wrong with what she's doing.
Yeah.
And of course she likes fanfics. Again, she's definitely one of those types that's like, gets really enamored with certain shows. I'm sure she would love, I don't know, what's a show? Doctor Who,
she'd watch Naruto or something.
She'd watch Naruto, and she's like, exactly. So she gets enamored with these things, and she would want to talk about it all the time, and she'd probably even she's the type to go to, like, a family outing with the whole family there, and then you're at the dinner table, and then she just starts rambling about Homestuck and all the characters.
And she talks about her fanfic and stuff.
Fanfics, and like,
I got a bunch of comments today, and she's just like doesn't understand that nobody cares.
She's
Twilight, and of course they care, because her life is important.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I can just imagine Twilight like, that's the whole point, is that you can tell Celestia is tired of her, because she's it's such a chore to interact with her, because you probably have to explain things to her, and then she doesn't get it, and then you just realize that it's hopeless, and you need to, like, tell her, you need to trick her, like, the whole point is that she's moved to Ponyville, right? And that seems like what Celestia's done, has been like, you have to go to a faraway world, far away from me, to learn lessons. And she's like, okay, I'll make sure to send you twice as many letters. That way no matter what she tries to do, Twilight's always like ruining Celestia's life. So
just like, don't worry, I'll make sure you won't miss me too much, princess. And I'll visit lots. And I'll bring my new friends over.
And then, I can't wait to come back. Already, like, putting that out there.
Yeah.
That she's come back.
That she's coming back.
Whatever Celestia does, Twilight's gotta just totally obliviously says something that, like, devastates Celestia, like, oh no.
And I feel like before Twilight was sent to live in Ponyville, Celestia would say a lot like, your room's kind of small, Twilight. And Twilight's like, yeah, a bigger room would be nice. And then Celestia's like, oh, well, no. I was thinking maybe you'd like to move out. Have you ever thought about getting your own place? And she's like, not really. I like the castle, but since you mentioned it, if you do have a bigger room, that would be great.
Hey, the
Does
room,
not
right,
understand.
the room right next to yours is totally open. Can I live there?
Yeah, and they're
instead?
like, well, that's Luna's room for when she gets back, honey. And it's like, but she doesn't have to come back because now I'm here.
He's totally.
Twilight does not care about other people.
Yeah.
It doesn't occur to her, not because she's mean, but because it hasn't
She's
been
just
ingrained in her to care.
So she's like a little toddler and
She's
Grown
Exactly.
like a
She's still
toddler.
in that selfishness state of like a 2-year-old who doesn't
Yeah.
understand that if they want something and someone else wants it, they don't understand that their need is not better than the other person's. Like, well, if we both want it, I should get it because I'm the person that the world centers around because I'm the toddler and I'm me. It's like this
Yeah.
state of being where you haven't conceptualized other people yet.
Okay, next question. This is the too
There's
soon
so more
one, but I'll ask it anyway because this is CR. We do everything, damn it.
Right.
How do you think the death of Kim Jong-2 would affect the plot script of future episodes?
Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-2.
My ass.
To whatever, I don't know. I totally
He's
fucked
a
that up.
nerd. He doesn't
You
know
you
it's Kim
fucking
Jong-il.
idiot.
It is Kim Jong-il. Yes, I totally fucked that up.
So that question doesn't really. You should keep that on the recording because it's funny, but I don't really have a.
I'm
You should embarrass yourself, but I don't know. King
This is the most
Jong-il's death.
moronic thing I have ever heard you say.
I'm sorry. I knew it was
Just
so
rubbing
much.
salt in the wound.
That is pretty lolsy, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sorry, I'm an idiot, but he's dead, so who cares?
When
We aren't
someone
gonna have any jokes about him, but Kim Jong-un was going to feature prominently. The original is always better.
Yeah, and we do have a Celestia 2 is the name of Twilight.
Yeah, that's Twilight's guy in there.
Username. So maybe I don't know.
We'll work this all in somehow.
We'll think of a way. Anyway, let's move on to the next question.
What is your favorite question to answer? And this is my own self speaking. It cannot be this one we just did.
What is your favorite question to answer?
Yeah.
What we said? What was our favorite response?
Like of today, or what do we wish they had asked or something?
I guess what of today, I suppose.
Well, I personally, the questions were pretty good. I like the question about cutting corners because I thought that that's a sort of an astute observation that other people maybe don't think about, that we have this opportunity to either cut corners or to do the best we can, and we're always opting to do the best we can. We have cut some corners before, but hopefully not in noticeable ways. But
Yeah.
I think that that's a good one. And same with the question, which is the hardest character to voice. That's that's like an astute.
Yeah, I like that one. It was for me. It was directed in a good way
There's
toward
that.
me specifically.
There's that thing. I've got so many questions that I'm rolling in questions.
Yeah, my question
Get
was
enough.
good though. It was as good as at least 7 questions directed
so
at
many.
you.
Anyway, but that was a good question. Any question really that's really about like the production and bigger. I really dislike questions where, and I get this a lot. We get actually PMs a lot, private messages, people talking about wanting to know how we, like what advice we have to give to making an abridged series, how we operate. I think questions more about how we operate are interesting to answer because I really don't like to say. I feel like when someone says, how do you make a good abridged series, there's only really one answer, and that's like you've
Be
just
funny.
gotta do it. Like you've got to be funny, and then you've got to edit it well. You've got to have sound effects so it doesn't sound silent. You have to have a high quality mic. It's like it's just like explaining what they should be able to figure out themselves. a lot of
It's like
times.
explaining friendship to Twilight
Yeah,
Sparkle.
exactly.
You just got to figure it out on your
Yeah,
own.
yeah.
Go
And
out
then
and fly.
same thing when people say what motifs do you, or not, like what's your creed? You know, like we get a lot of questions like how do you do what you do? Like I'm just looking for some sort of like vague answer. Like I want to know what your morals are, what your creed is on production, and it's like, again, we don't really know how to answer that. We just do it. Like
Yeah.
if you want to do it, you just do it and you have fun. And obviously, if you're in a situation where you can't voice act and you want to make an abridged series, then you've got to find voice actors. And if you try to do
I would say
open-
though that the world is full of people who will do that for you if you look in the
Yeah.
right places. Voice
Yeah.
actors.
it's more
It's hard to
fear-
find good ones probably, but they're out there.
Yeah. People will voice for you for sure.
Because
But
that's
you
like the part that everyone wants to do.
probably want to find good ones though if you want it to be successful. But yeah, same things like same questions about music too. I think someone asked how do you compose the music once, and it was sort of a weird question because it's the same thing with writing. It's the same thing asking how you write a joke. It's just like you just write the joke. Like it is
Yeah.
funny. It is funny, and there's no real answer you can give to anyone. But yeah, this is sort of a tangent. I'm just talking about questions I don't like. I don't like questions that you really can't answer because they seem like the answer should be obvious, or the answer is the question is answering itself.
Next one. We know that Twilight's magic is legal, but is there legal magic?
Twilight's magic is legal, and there's gypsy magic, which is illegal. Pretty much all magic not by unicorns is very illegal.
It's illegal.
Earth ponies are not meant to step outside the box. They have to stay within their boundaries socially and not magic things.
Oh, okay. What he's meaning is like legislative magic,
Oh.
not.
Well, Twilight's
Like
magic is
academic
legally allowed, which is what we meant. But the court system is not operated by magic.
And then last question from here, and then we have just a couple little short ones. Do you think you will include a reference to the recently passed NDAA given the prevalence of police agencies in Witchcraft?
The one where they can detain U.S. citizens. I'm not entirely up to date.
Yeah,
on.
I don't think we're gonna do political commentary.
Yeah, that
political
seems a little
commentary.
too far.
I
Yeah.
mean, just in general, it's like it's its own kind of humor, and I feel like it can be a little preachy, where basically the characters become a mouthpiece for what you feel
Right.
about current politics. And since it's Ponyville, I don't know. I don't think it'll come up. We might have our own sort of fascist thing
We
going
definitely
on, but
have
I don't
some
really think that'll.
politics, but
Yeah,
it
but
wouldn't
they're
be
not
related.
reflective of American politics.